Good morning, seventh graders. I hope you're having a good time staying home, working from home, you're online learning. I miss seeing your all's faces, and I hear that I have a couple of belated happy birthdays to the Hutton twins and to Gavin. So I hope you enjoyed your birthdays at home and had some special treats come your way. I'm getting ready to start reading chapter 16. Make sure you watch the video to the end. Chapter 16. After a week of staring at my clock waiting for midnight, I begin to despair. Of course Farley can't reach us here. Even she is not so talented. But tonight, when the clock ticks, I feel nothing for the first time since Queen's trial. No cameras, no electricity, nothing. The power is completely out. I've been in blackouts before, too many to count, but this is different. This isn't an accident. This is for me. Moving quickly, I slip into my boots, now broken in by weeks of wear, and head for the door. I'm barely out in the hallway before I hear Walsh in my ear, speaking softly and quickly as she pulls me through the forced darkness. "We don't have much time," she murmurs, hustling me into a service stairwell. It's pitch black, but she knows where we're going, and I trust her to get me there. They'll have the power back on in 15 minutes if we're lucky. And if we aren't, I breathe in the darkness. She hustles me down the stairs and shoulders open a door. "Then I hope you're not too attached to your head." The smell of earth and dirt and water hits me first, churning up all the memories of life in the woods. But even though it looks like a forest with gnarled old trees and hundreds of plants painted blue and black by the moon, a glass roof rises overhead, the conservatory. Twisting shadows sprawl across the ground, each one worse than the next. I see security and sentinels in every dark corner waiting to capture and kill us, like they did my brother. But instead of their horrific black or flame uniforms, there's nothing but flowers blooming beneath the glass ceiling of stars. "Excuse me if I don't curtsy," a voice says, emerging from a grove of white spangled magnolia trees. Her blue eyes reflect the moon, glowing in the dark with cold fire. Farley has a real talent for theatrics. Like in her broadcast, she wears a red scarf across her face, hiding her features. But it doesn't hide a ruinous scar that marches down her neck, disappearing beneath the collar of her shirt. It looks new, barely beginning to heal. She's been busy since I last saw her, but then so have I. "Farley," I say, tipping my head in greeting. She doesn't nod back, but then I didn't expect her to. "All business." "And the other one?" she murmurs. "Other one?" "Holland's bringing him any second now." Walsh sounds breathless, excited even, about whoever we're waiting for. Even Farley's eyes shine. "What is it? Who else joined up?" They don't answer me, exchanging glances instead. A few names run through my head, servants and kitchen boys who would support the cause. But the person who joins us is no servant. He's not even red. Maven? I don't know whether to scream or run when I see my betrothed appear from the shadows. He's a prince, he's silver, he's the enemy, and yet here he is standing with one of the leaders of the Scarlet Guard. His companion Holland, an aging red servant with years of service behind him, seems to swell with pride. "I told you you're not alone, Mare," Maven says, but he doesn't smile. A hand twitches at his side. He's all nerves. Farley scares him. And I can see why. She steps toward us, gun in hand, but she's just as nervous as he is. Still, her voice does not shake. "I want to hear it from your lips, little prince. Tell me what you told him," she says, tipping her head toward Holland. Maven sneers at little prince, his lips curving in distaste. But he doesn't snap at her. "I want to join the guard," he says, his voice full of conviction. She moves quickly, cocking the pistol and taking aim at the same motion. My heart seems to stop when she presses the barrel into his forehead, but Maven doesn't flinch. "Why?" she hisses. "Because this world is wrong. What my father has done, what my brother will do is wrong." Even with a gun to his head, he manages to speak calmly. But a bead of sweat trickles down his neck. Farley doesn't pull away, waiting for a better answer, and I find myself doing the same. His eyes shift, moving to mine as he swallows hard. "When I was 12, my father sent me to the war front to toughen me up, to make me more like my brother. Cal is perfect, you see, so why couldn't I be the same?" I can't help but flinch at his words, recognizing the pain in them. I lived in Gisa's shadow, and he lived in Cal's. I know what that life is like. Farley sniffs, almost laughing at him. "I have no use for jealous little boys." "I wish it was jealousy that drove me here," Maven murmurs. "I spent 3 years in the barracks, following Cal and officers and generals, watching soldiers fight and die for a war no one believed in, where Cal saw honor and loyalty. I saw foolishness. I saw waste, blood on both sides of the dividing line, and your people gave so much more. I remember the books in Cal's room, the tactics and maneuvers laid out like a game. The memory makes me cringe. But what Maven says next chills my blood. There was a boy just 17, a red from the frozen north. He didn't know me on sight, not like everyone else, but he treated me just fine. He treated me like a person. I think he was my first real friend. Maybe it's a trick of the moonlight, but something like tears glimmer in his eyes. His name was Thomas, and I watched him die. I could have saved him, but my guards held me back. His life wasn't worth mine, they said. Then the tears are gone, replaced by clenched fists and an iron will. Cal calls this the balance. Silver over red. He's a good person and he'll be a just ruler, but he doesn't think change is worth the cost, he says. I'm trying to tell you that I'm not the same as the rest of them. I think my life is worth yours, and I'll give it gladly if it means change. He's a prince, and worst of all, the queen's son. I didn't want to trust him before for this very reason, for the secret he kept hidden, or maybe this is what he was hiding all along, his own heart. Though he tries his best to look grim, to keep his spine straight and his lips from trembling, I can see the boy beneath the mask. Part of me wants to embrace him, to comfort him, but Farley would stop me before I could. When she lowers her gun, slowly but surely, I let go of a breath I didn't realize I was holding in. The boy speaks truth, the manservant Holland says. He shifts to stand next to Maven, strangely protective of his prince. He's felt this way for months now since he returned from the front. And you told him of us after a few tear-filled nights, Farley sneers, turning her fearsome gaze on Holland. But the man holds firm. I've known the prince since boyhood. Anyone close to him can see his heart has changed. Holland glances sidelong at Maven as if remembering the boy he was. Think what an ally he could be, what a difference he could make. Maven is different. I know that firsthand, but something tells me my words won't sway Farley. Only Maven can do that. Now, swear on your colors, she growls at him. An ancient oath, according to Lady Blonos, like swearing on your life, your family, and your children to come all at once, and Maven doesn't hesitate to do it. I swear on my colors, he says, dipping his head. I pledge myself to the Scarlet Guard. It sounds like his marriage proposal, but this is far more important and more deadly. Welcome to the Scarlet Guard, she finally says, pulling away her scarf. I move quietly over the tile floor until I feel his hand in mine. It blazes with now familiar heat. Thank you, Maven, I whisper. You don't know what this means to us, to me. Any other would smile at the prospect of recruiting a silver and a royal at that, but Farley barely reacts at all. What are you willing to do for us? I can give you information, intelligence, whatever you might need to continue forward with your operation. I sit on tax councils with my father. We don't care about taxes, Farley snaps. She casts an angry glance at me, as if it's my fault she doesn't like what he's offering. What we need are names, locations, targets, what to hit and what to cause, and when to cause the most damage. Can you give me that? Maven shifts, uncomfortable. I'd prefer a less hostile path, he mutters. Your violent methods aren't winning you any friends. Farley scoffs, letting the sound echo over the conservatory. Your people are 1,000 times more violent and cruel than mine. We've spent the last few centuries under a silver boot, and we're not going to get out by being nice. I suppose, Maven murmurs. I can tell he's thinking of Thomas, of everyone he watched die. His shoulder brushes mine as he pulls back, retreating into me for protection. Farley doesn't miss it and almost laughs out loud. The little prince and the little lightning girl, she laughs. You two suit each other, one a coward, and you, she turns to me, her steel blue eyes burning. The last time we met, you were scrabbling in the mud for a miracle. I found it, I tell her. To cement my point, my hands spark up, casting dancing purple light over us. The darkness seems to shift, and members of the Scarlet Guard reveal themselves in menacing order, stepping out from trees and bushes. Their faces are masked with scarves and bandanas, but they don't hide everything. The tallest one must be Tristan, with his long limbs. I can tell by the way they stand, tense and ready for action, that they're afraid. But Farley's face doesn't change. She knows the people meant to protect her won't do much against Maven or even me. But she doesn't look at all intimidated. To my great surprise, she finally smiles. Her grin is fearsome, full of teeth and wild hunger. We can bomb and burn every inch of this country down, she murmurs, looking between us with something like pride. But that will never do the damage you two can do. A silver prince turning against his crown, a red girl with abilities. What will people say when they see you standing with us? I thought you wanted, Maven starts, but Farley waves the words away. The bombings are just a way to get attention. Once we have it, once every silver in this forsaken country is watching, we need something to show them. Her gaze turns calculating as she measures us up, weighing us against whatever she has in mind. I think you'll do quite nicely. My voice trembles, dreading what she might say. As what? The face of our glorious revolution, she says proudly, tossing her head back. Her golden hair catches the moonlight. For a second, she seems to wear a sparkling crown, the drop of water to break the dam. Maven nods with fervor. So what do we do to start? Well, I think it's time we took a page out of Mare's book of mischief. What's that supposed to mean? I don't understand. But Maven follows Marley's line of thought easily. My father has been covering up other attacks by the guard, he mutters, explaining her plan. My mind flickers back to the Colonel Macinthos and her outburst at luncheon. The airfield, Delphi, Harbor Bay. Maven nods. He called them accidents, training exercises, lies. But when you sparked up at Queen's trial, even my mother couldn't talk you away. We need something like that, something no one can hide, to show the world the Scarlet Guard is very dangerous and very real. But won't that have consequences? My thoughts flash back to the riot, to the innocent people tortured and killed by the mindless horde. The Silvers will turn on us. Things will get worse. Farley looks away, unable to hold my gaze, and more will join us. More will realize that the lives we live are wrong and that something can be done to change it. We've stood still for far too long. It's time to make sacrifices and move forward. Was my brother your sacrifice? I snapped, feeling anger and flare within me. Was his death worth it to you? To her credit, she doesn't lie. Shade knew what he was getting into. And what about everyone else? What about the kids and the elders and anyone who hasn't signed up for your glorious revolution? What happens when Sentinels start rounding them up for punishment when they can't find you? Maven's voice is warm and soft in my ear. Think of your histories, Mare. What has Julian taught you? He taught me about death, the before, the wars, but beyond that, in a time when things could still change, there were revolutions. The people rose, the empires fell, and things changed. Liberty moved in arcs, rising and falling with the tide of time. Revolution needs a spark, I murmur, repeating what Julian would say in our lessons. And even sparks burn. Farley smiles. You should know that better than anyone. But I'm still not convinced. The pain of losing Shade, of knowing my parents have lost a child, will only multiply if we do this. How many more Shades will die? Strangely, it's Maven, not Farley, who tries to sway me. Cal believes that change is not worth the cost, he says. His voice shakes, quivering with nerves and conviction, and he's going to rule one day. Do you want to let him be the future? For once, my answer is easy. No. Farley nods, pleased. Walsh and Holland, she jerks her head toward them. Tell me there's going to be a little party here. The ball, Maven offers. It's an important target, I snap. Everyone will have guards. The Queen will know if something goes wrong. She will not, Maven breaks in, almost scoffing at the idea. My mother is not all-powerful, and she would want you to believe. Even she has limits. Limits? The Queen? Just the thought makes my mind run wild. How can you say that? You know what she can do. I know that in the middle of a ball, with so many voices and thoughts swirling around her, she'll be useless. And so long as we stay out of her path, give her no reason to prod, she won't know a thing. The same goes for the Egri eyes. They won't be looking ahead for trouble. And so they won't see it. He turns back to Farley, his spine straight as an arrow. Silvers might be strong, but we are not invincible. It can be done. Farley nods smoothly, smiling with her teeth. We'll be in contact again once things are set in motion. Can I ask something in return? I blurt, reaching out to grab her arm. My friend, the one I came to you about before, wants to join the guard, but you can't let him. Just make sure he doesn't get involved in any of this. Gently, she peels my fingers from her arm as regret clouds her eyes. I hope you don't mean me. To my horror, one of the shadowy guards steps forward. The red rag around his face doesn't hide the set of his broad shoulders or the ratty shirt I've seen 1,000 times, but the steely look in his eyes, the determination of a man twice his age, is something I don't recognize at all. Killorn looks years away already, Scarlet Guard to the bone, willing to fight and die for the cause. He's red as the dawn. No, I whisper, drawing back from Farley. Now I can only see Killorn running full speed toward his doom. You know what happened to Shade. You can't do this. He pulls away the rag and reaches out to embrace me, but I step away. His touch feels like a betrayal. Mare, you don't have to keep trying to save me. I will as long as you won't. How can he expect to be anything but a human shield? How can he do this? Far away, something hums at me, growing louder by the second, but I barely notice. I'm more focused on keeping the tears from falling in front of Farley and the guard and Maven. Killorn, please. He darkens at my words like they're an insult rather than a young girl's plea. You made your choice and I'm making mine. I made the choice for you, to keep you safe, I snap. It's amazing how easily we fall back into our old rhythm, bickering like always, but there's much more on the line now. I can't just shove him into the mud and walk away. I bargained for you. You're doing what you think will protect me, Mare, he mutters, his voice a low rumble. So let me do what I can to save you. My eyes squeeze shut, letting my heartache take over. I've been protecting Killorn every day since his mother left, since he almost starved to death in my doorway, and now he won't let me, no matter how dangerous the future has become. Slowly, I open my eyes. Do what you want, Killorn. My voice is cold and mechanical, like the wires and circuits trying to switch back on. The power's coming back soon. We should be on the move. The others spring into action, disappearing into the conservatory, and Walsh takes me by the arm. Killorn backs away, following the others into the shadows, but his eyes stay on me. Mare, he calls after me, at least say goodbye. But I'm already walking, Maven by my side, Walsh leading us both. I won't look back. Not now, when he's betrayed all I've ever done for him. Hey, 7th graders, I just finished reading the first half of chapter 16 aloud from Red Queen. Now here's your challenge. I have 3 questions for you to answer. It is not for a grade, but the first 3 people that email me the correct answers, I will send you a treat this week in the mail. Make sure you include your address when you submit your answers. Good luck. Question 1. Mare is shocked when blank, a silver, joins the Scarlet Guard. Mare is shocked when blank, a silver, joins the Scarlet Guard. She's also shocked that Killorn has joined the Scarlet Guard, but she's more shocked when she sees that this silver joins. Question 2. What does the Scarlet Guard plan to do? What does the Scarlet Guard plan to do? And third, what is the Scarlet Guard? Again, what is the Scarlet Guard? The first 3 people to email me the correct answers to these 3 questions, I will send you a treat this week. So make sure you include your address if you want to be entered into this contest. Also, I forgot to say happy belated birthday to Cambry. I hope you had the best day, my friend. I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.